What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video of the Point After Podcast. We're heading to the West Coast, Oregon versus UCLA. This one's going to be a barn burner. What's surprising to me is the fact that Oregon is 6-point favorites as we open up on Monday morning. I don't necessarily like Oregon -6 in this one. I think there's a lot of books out there still discrediting UCLA, and I think part of that is going to their defense. Giving up 340 yards per game on the ground, 340 yards per game, period. And their offense is putting up 500 yards. So a lot of them are just crediting that to the UCLA offense. Now, when you look at who UCLA has played, they beat Washington, who looked really good against Michigan State, but how good is Washington? The question still remains to be answered. They beat Utah, who didn't look good all season until they played USC last Saturday. Oregon, on the other hand, has been damn near unstoppable since that Georgia loss. The problem is, who have they played? They played Arizona, Stanford, Wazoo, BYU. BYU's not as good as what people were anticipating. You hung 70 on Eastern Washington. This is the game, which makes it hard to predict, where we're going to learn a lot about both of these teams. Now, defensively, I think is where this game is going to be decided. I'll get the stats and percentages and all that in just a minute, but when you look at these two teams just across the board, both teams are putting up 41 points per game, allowing mid-20s. Total yards, both are putting up over 500, over 270 through the air, over 200 on the ground. Yards allowed, both of them are giving up around 350 yards a game. That's not good, especially when you're playing in the Pac-12. Now, I know a lot of that is like garbage time stuff and things of that nature. But nonetheless, here, this game is about as even as it gets. And I feel like I've said that all year long about half of these preview videos I've done. But these two teams are very even. They're ranked number 9 and 10, respectfully. Number 9 is a 6-point dog on the road to Oregon. That's telling you that if it was at neutral field or if it was in Los Angeles, which UCLA don't have a crowd, UCLA would be about -4, -3.5, somewhere in there. But just getting into it. UCLA 6-0, Oregon 5-1. Again, the loss to Georgia. I wanted to see when that game was scheduled. I couldn't find it, but it's not like Oregon chose to open up with Georgia. That game was scheduled a few years back, and they just kind of got them at this time. So really, Oregon should be 6-0 with another non-con win. UCLA has had two pretty good performances, but their defense has given up 30 points 3 times this season, where Oregon, outside of the Georgia game, you give up 41 to Wazoo, who has a really, really good offense. You're only allowing about 23 points per game, maybe somewhere in there. UCLA gave up 31 to South Alabama at home. That's concerning. Colorado you beat handily, and Alabama State you beat handily, but neither one of those teams are good. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bo Nix, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's 12-1 ratio after the Georgia game. The points per game are pretty much even here. Getting into the ranks, third down conversion, 32. Ranked 32 is Oregon, 46% conversion percentage. Third down defense, damn near worst in the country, 129. UCLA, number 4 in third down conversions. Oregon is allowing a third down conversion 50% of the time. If UCLA converts anywhere close to that, UCLA wins the football game. That's just my take on it. Because you've got to win third downs. You've got to win third downs at home. If Oregon can win third down, they win the game. It's that simple. Especially with the way Bo Nix has been playing, and your defense is pretty damn good. Red zone defense, both these teams in the back 25%, like 96 and 124. Red zone offense, Oregon is converting on 94% of their trips. UCLA is converting on 83%. Turnover margin, UCLA +6, Oregon +3. Rushing defense, though, Oregon is ranked 13th, UCLA is ranked 16th. So what does that mean? That means these teams are going to have to throw the football if they want any type of success. Now, the difference is, I think, if Oregon wants to win the game, I'm really high on Oregon winning this game. I think Dan Lanning, that coaching staff at home, Bo Nix, if Oregon's going to win the Pac-12, it's going to be this year. And this is a game where we find out if UCLA are contenders or pretenders. That's truly what it comes down to. We don't know enough about UCLA. You beat Washington. I think that was primetime game on Friday night. Yeah, it was, looking at the dates. That was a really good performance out of UCLA. You're both coming off a bye week, so you both have the extra rest, the both extra time to get healthy. It's just like Chip Kelly's coming back home to Oregon. It's to me, it's a matter of UCLA's UCLA's offense versus Oregon's defense. Oregon's defense is what's going to make this team go there. Their offense with Dan Lanning and Bo has just been efficient. You're going to get a good game out of Bo Nix. I don't think this is one of those Auburn-esque games with Bo where he's throwing picks everywhere. He's just being reckless with the ball. Like, Bo needed that change of scenery. It was still an SEC game for him when he played against Georgia. I think Bo and Oregon offensively will be all right. Oregon, keep DTR in the pocket. Make DTR beat you with his arm. Can he? Probably. But where DTR gets dangerous is when he starts to run. That's the difference makers. I think Oregon's going to be able to line up and run the football pretty effectively. Can UCLA do the same thing? I think they're going to tear off some big runs. I think this game's set to 70 over-under. I'm probably taking the over. I think this is a 45-35 top game, 42-30, 48-38, something like that. I'm seeing this being a very high-scoring game. I like the over in this one. I don't think this is going to be just a defensive stalemate. I think both offenses are clicking. I think Chip Kelly, Dan Lanning, they're going to be able to put up some points here. It may be a slow first half. That number drops. Live bet the second half over or something. I don't know exactly the number it's going to be set at, especially if this number gets to 50. Second half is going to have some points, especially if the first half don't. But yeah, I like Oregon to win this game. I do. I think I like Oregon's defense a lot more. Now, I would love to see if I can pull up Wazoo really quick and see kind of where they stand. So Wazoo's 4-3. They lost to USC by 14. Beat Cal 28-9. And pretty much since that Oregon game, you just haven't got the same offense for Washington State. I mean, you beat Colorado State 38-7. You beat Wisconsin on the road. Washington State's not a good football team. They're a capable football team. So outside of that game, 22 to Arizona, 27 to Stanford, 20 to BYU. BYU's a pretty good football team. They're not elite. They're not really good like we thought they were going to be in the beginning of the year, but they're a good football team. And then Georgia, I mean, they never stood a chance. I'm not going to get too much into that game. They never stood a chance. That was more coaching than skill, if you will. UCLA, though, again, it's just when you look at their resume, number 15 Washington win by 8, number 11 Utah win by 10. I'm not convinced on those wins. I watched UCLA play. That Washington game, I mean, that thing gets started at 9 o'clock, but that's a game where I'm like, okay, you look good, but now I need you to beat a really good team. Again, it goes back. How good is Washington? Washington is 5-2. You lost to Arizona State. You barely beat Arizona. You beat Washington or Michigan State, but they're not really a good football team, and you beat Stanford. So how good is Washington? We really don't know, and they only play. I mean, they play Oregon later in the year, but outside of that, Washington's a 9-3 football team, but are they 9-3 in the SEC? Or are they 9-3 in the ACC? I don't think so. They're 4-8, 6-6 at best. Put them in another conference. So, I'm gonna rock with Oregon. I don't know if I'm taking UCLA to cover just yet. I think if I had an official pick, I'd probably take the over. Follow us. If you follow us on Twitter, I'll put all our official picks out on Friday or Saturday morning. So I'm going to take the over in this one, the over 70. I'm going to take Oregon to win. And I think it's going to be a very, very close football game. Let me know in the comment section how you guys see this one panning out. Hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 300. We gained about 40 last week. So I really appreciate if any of you guys are returning. If you're new here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be here all year, okay? I'm not going anywhere. You're going to get Monday preview videos. You're going to get some NCAA Football Dynasty if you're into that. But yeah, let me know in the comment section how you guys see this one panning out. Whether you agree with me or whether you don't. I've had some pretty good conversations all season. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next Monday.